Coming up, the mobile internet tsunami is here. While the world is twittering and streaming video to their phones, is there still room to grow? Kramer gets answers from Skyworks Solutions CEO David Aldrich on the executive decision.
Ladies and gents, we got a genuine upside earnings surprise on our hands tonight. And if you've been listening to my endless promotion of the mobile internet tsunami, you might be benefiting tomorrow morning from the news that Skyworks Solutions sees business as much better than expected, which is pretty darn good considering that we've been expecting a lot from this company. Skyworks, you see, is ground zero for the smartphone tsunami. This is why I've been, let's call me a broken record, I don't mind, about the mobile internet revolution. The creation of game-changing devices that can connect to the web anywhere, giving you voice, data, video, storage, all in one nifty little device like Apple's iPhone, Research in Motion's Blackberries. I have said this is the biggest product cycle, the biggest secular growth trend in technology since the recognition that the regular internet was the next big thing in the late 90s, or even the mass rollout of the personal computer in the early 90s, one that should allow you to rack up similarly huge multi-year gains if you own the right stocks. Remember, I come out here to teach you. When I was at my hedge fund, those were the two major trends that I played that made me the most money. I look for major trends. This is it. I will not shut up about this trend because, quite simply, it's right. I need you in it, which is why I keep hammering away at the theme. And now we've got the data to prove it. You know, back on August 11th, we created the Mobile Internet Index. There's 21 stocks that represent every facet of this trend, from straight-up internet plays and device makers to network, connectivity plays, to wireless infrastructure plays and component makers. Since we created the Mobile Internet Index, stocks are up an average of 9.1%. The S&P 500 is up just 3.9%. Now, I've got to tell you, anytime you can double the S&P, that's fantastic outperformance. Now, I'm expecting that the index to pop once again tomorrow because Skyworks is a key driver of the mobile internet and one that I've talked about for the last 9 months when I first discerned this fantastic secular growth trend. Skyworks is up 16% since the creation of the index on August 11th, when it was at $11.04. But it's up an incredible 189% since I got behind it on December 12th, when it was at $4.41. And you know what? I don't think it's finished going higher. Something else I've repeated endlessly. But why get off an inexpensive horse that keeps on winning? Skyworks Solutions makes semiconductors, mainly filters, power amplifiers for mobile phones, which strengthen the cellular signal, allowing for, of course, that's how you get all the downloads of data, web content, videos. It also has its paws in broadband infrastructure, smart power meters. The company is a great smartphone play. They require more power amplifiers than ordinary phones. It now supplies all of the leading smartphone makers. Now, this has been a great day for Skyworks because this afternoon, Skyworks increased its financial outlook for the fourth quarter. It boosted its sales and earnings forecasts because of broad-based improvements in demand. Companies seeing increased momentum from high-end vendors. Apple, it's been in every iPhone so far. Research in Motion, where it's over half of its devices. LG, Lucky G, Samsung, as well as the low end of the handset market through its relationship with an outfit called MediaTek. And Skyworks is on track to potentially triple its market share at Nokia. This company produces the guts of the devices that make the mobile internet possible. No wonder it's doing so well. Yesterday, Oppenheimer raised its 2010 handset shipment estimate by over 8%. 1.23 billion handsets. It upped its smartphone shipment up by 27% to 256 million from 201 million. Well, that's a lot of additional filters and power amplifiers for Skyworks to sell. And with Skyworks upping its earnings outlook today, something which, by the way, a somewhat similar company, Texas Instruments, also did after the close, I think the trading in Skyworks, well, I just think the story's looking better and better. So much better that I want to talk to the company's great CEO, friend of Mad Money, David Aldrich, about the incredible things happening with the mobile internet and his business. Mr. Aldrich, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Every time I see you, we make money for our viewers, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
How do you report a much better than expected quarter this early in the year, in the quarter, and how did you realize that this was not just a destocking, restocking inventory situation like so many told me when I recommended your stock last time?
Well, it's been a few things. You mentioned a couple in your opening comments. One is we've seen an improvement in demand across the board, smartphone as well as low end, netbooks as well as infrastructure. we've begun to see some real upside in some of the secular trends that you talked about. We're an early adopter, an early participant in smartphones, in some netbook technologies and e-books, and in some of the infrastructure that's causing it all to be facilitated with high-speed data access. So it's a combination of those things. It's improved our order flow. Our outlook's gotten much better.
Yes.
And so we communicated that today.
But you said something that, again, I think people don't believe in. You called yourself an early adopter. People think that we're already in the 8th or 9th inning on these smartphones. Totally untrue. Game just started, right?
Absolutely. Well, if you think about it today, the applications are very well understood. We're not waiting for future applications, but the applications are relatively nascent. One is Twitter and Facebook, social networking, email access, high-speed internet access, cameras, and so on. So all of that technology is being facilitated by a whole host of devices, whether it's a netbook, whether it's an ultra-thin, ultra-mini PC, whether it's a smartphone. But the beauty is the carriers love it. Don't like it, love it. Because for every smartphone consumer is having a multiple of actual subscriber revenue than a 2G subscriber.
Well, so what they're doing is propagating your business, right? I mean, the more that they want to get people into a sticky application, the more business that Skyworks does.
Absolutely. They see the traffic on the network. They're willing to invest. They're willing to underwrite the cost of some of these devices, so the devices are cheap. The demand is there. The infrastructure is in place. That all has the combination. That all combines to create, we think, a terrific secular long-term trend.
Well, I mean, everyone tells me, how do I make money off of Facebook? And I say, it's Skyworks. You can't own Facebook, but you can own the technology that allows it to work on your handset.
In order what people have become so enamored with those various networking sites, they want to be on all the time. And the only way to be connected all the time is you've got to have Wi-Fi interconnectivity in a building, local area, wireless. You need to have wide area networking. That's 3G, coming 4G. And the carriers need to facilitate all of that. That all spells more semiconductor content, more stickiness to this overall trend.
All right. Now, I don't want to over-exaggerate smartphones. You've got a lot of other businesses you're in. Could you talk about how they've got to be doing well enough, too, or else you wouldn't be able to blow out the numbers like this?
They are doing well. We've got a big play now in smart grid technology. We added last quarter.
You got to tell people what that is. Smart grid, people don't know what that is.
Absolutely. Well, think of the wireless meter in your home. And all the infrastructure that's being, some of the stimulus dollars going towards being able to prevent brownouts, to be able to manage the grid. Then once the wireless meters,
Cisco's in that too.
Precisely, and then that's facilitating in the home. How do you look at a thermostat? How do you know how does the consumer know what the consumption is going to be? Wi-Fi. There are 400 million embedded Wi-Fi devices this year. That's expected to grow by 25 or 30%. We announced last quarter that we have a situation now with Intel where we partnered on their latest chipset. Our position with Broadcom strong. We're in 3 of the top 4 netbook OEMs today.
Okay, now, one of the things that everyone says is that Nokia's got to catch up. Nokia's the biggest, but it's not the best. Now, you have a great relationship with Nokia. Should we be thinking Apple, Research in Motion, Palm, Nokia? Is that what we'll be doing next year at this time?
I think you'll be thinking about all of the above. I think clearly the smartphone sector created some new participants. It created a new business model, in fact, that we didn't know, many of us didn't know existed, which is very high revenue per subscriber, mobile internet access. There are going to be netbook devices, ultra-mini PCs. There are going to be high-end and mid-tier 3G phones that are going to allow for some of that functionality. All of that's going to load up the network. So I think you're going to see PC manufacturers as well as traditional phone OEMs.
See, what I've been saying, just to wrap things up, what I've been saying is, look, that you could get on an individual horse, and I happen to like Apple very much, but it's better to be on to play the field, and you guys literally are the field because you're pretty much in everybody's devices.
Well, that's right. A couple of years ago, we were heavily concentrated with a couple of OEMs. We did a lot of work to try to fix that situation. A newest customer in cellular space for us is Nokia, believe it or not.
I didn't know.
So we're now in all of the top-tier cellular OEMs, virtually all the smartphones. And with Intel and Broadcom, we're now in very good shape on the netbook PC. So we're pretty happy with that position.
All right, the stock Skyworks Solutions is breaking out above 13. Now you know the great secular story run by David Aldrich. Great to see you, sir. Thank you again for making all our viewers so much money.
Thank you. Appreciate it.